All right, we got a special localized post-week outlook here in the locker room. My goodness, the Texans know who they're going to play, and it's going to be a historic matchup. It's going to be an extremely historic matchup because for the first time in franchise history, the Texans will not be playing a playoff game on the opening Saturday in the wild card round. 2011 Saturday, 2012 Saturday, 2015 Saturday, 16, 18, 19, 23, 24, all on Saturday. Now they're going to be a Monday night game against the Pittsburgh Steelers. And I'll say this right now. I think the Texans could lose to the Steelers, but I think the Texans have also, things are laid out perfectly for them, and the Texans got what they wanted. This is the path that the Texans wanted. In any scenario. Matter of fact, I venture to say if the Steelers win last week, I don't think the Texans bench their starter at the start of the starters at the start of the third quarter. I asked this question before. I don't think they do. They can still lose. Texans are a very flawed squad offensively. But this is what they wanted. You get Pittsburgh in the first round, and then after that, you think you can beat anyone. The possibility of going to Buffalo, that's a no-no, depending on how far you go. So the Texans are set up just like they would want to be set up at this point. And it is going to be a battle. It's going to be a physical game. It's going to be a Monday night game, and there's going to be a lot of people watching this one with a lot of interest. I'll get into my 5 immediate thoughts on this, and these are very immediate. Tomorrow, media availability is going to start at 10 a.m. So we'll hear from D'Amico Ryans and we'll hear from some players in the locker room. So we got you covered in that area. SNL Reaction Monday is going to be live at 2. Texans Collective with myself, Cody, a.k.a. SNL, Sean Pendergast, and Reginald Atatula. That will be live on YouTube at 6. And then we'll have another locker room at 10:30. So we got about 4 streams in 24 hours, 5 in about 28. That's what business is about when it comes to the playoffs. As far as the game itself, I got to say this. I had to kind of step away as a football fan and as someone who really, really respects fandom, especially from just the badass traditional organizations like the Pittsburgh Steelers and the Baltimore Ravens. They got a good history too. I don't know how you watch that game and don't have a heart attack. I mean, even as a casual observer, I had to step away, and I couldn't imagine being a fan of either team. That's got to be one of the wilder rushes. It's got to be one of the better season finales in NFL history. And both of these teams were just battling. Like Pittsburgh, I know that their flaws are going to be picked at, but Mike Tomlin does it time and time again. And the fact that this team won the division, is in the playoffs, and I know it's a dog-butted division, but the fact that they won that game and the fact that they did what they did this season, it just speaks to just how good of a coach Mike Tomlin is. And yes, maybe there's a feeling of a mediocre treadmill. I'm sure that there's some frustration that goes with Steelers, but my God, I mean, he is out there and his teams just find ways to win. And Baltimore, very disappointing team. They dealt with a lot of injuries, and you can tell. I don't know if this is like I don't know if this is something to get used to, but Lamar Jackson clearly banged up. And he put on an MVP type performance today. He just got let down by his kicker. He made the plays that they needed to make. He just got let down by his kicker after Pittsburgh got let down by their kicker and Chris Boswell straight from Rice out here. I thought it was funny right off the top that Chris Collinsworth, when he saw Lamar Jackson run out of bounds, said, "That's a good sign for the," and I like Chris Collinsworth, so I'm not picking on him. That's a good sign for the Baltimore Ravens. Lamar Jackson appears to be himself. Dude, he was moving like a guy with a hurt back. That's one thing I am an expert on when it comes to physicality. Then you had just kind of the up and down roller coaster. Pittsburgh at midfield, they try to run the tush push. It looks terrible. It looks worse than a chick with a bad tan and a bad barbed wire tattoo and a bad boob job trying to copy Pam Anderson back in the 90s. These teams that copy the tush push, they're the biggest case for keeping it in the game, quite frankly. But Hayward basically tackles his brother. His brother goes down. Pittsburgh fails to convert there. Then at the end of the first half, Pittsburgh gets all the way to the 1 yard line, and they decide to run a little misdirection pitch to Gamewell. He gets stuffed. All of a sudden, there's boo birds. And then we watched this back and forth, just this back and forth contest. Lamar Jackson just making plays he has no business making. Aaron Rodgers getting pissed off at the inheritee of FedEx, Arthur Smith. They end up scoring a touchdown. Then Lamar Jackson heroics. Then the Steelers score a touchdown, and Chris Boswell misses an extra point for the first time. I think he said December 16th, 2023 was what Mike Tirico said. He was really hammering that point home. And then Baltimore returns the ball to the 50. They get a penalty. DeAndre Hopkins doesn't run up the seam. More localized Houston figures. And then you have a missed chip shot field goal, and Baltimore loses. Just absolute insanity. Absolutely nuts. I was already preparing this show with my 5 biggest takeaways about the Ravens. I had the point differential. By the way, it's like 70 between D'Amico Ryans and Lamar Jackson starting teams in Baltimore. It was like, but with him starting, like the point differential is like 70. You know why I know that off the top of my head? Because I was getting that ready before that field goal went up. I needed to exhale after watching that game. And then you have JJ's brother getting the interception. We don't know how healthy he's going to be. This was an epic game, epic way to end the season. And it's epic for Texans fans because, look, I'm just being honest. They wanted to play the Pittsburgh Steelers. And quite frankly, I think if you give any team from 4 down their choice of who they want to play, I think they would all say the Pittsburgh Steelers. I think everyone from Houston to Buffalo to the Chargers, they would want to play Pittsburgh. Again, I think it's going to be a tough game. I think the last I looked, it was a pick 'em, but they would want to play Pittsburgh. Let's go to the chat real quick here on the special locker room post-week outlook. The most important one of all. Playoff picture is set. Texans versus Steelers. Monday Night Football, baby. How about that? Media availability tomorrow at 10. I'll be on the scene with Cody. And then they're actually off Tuesday, Wednesday. We're going to have to cover a Saturday practice. So we're going to have to cover a Saturday practice this year. This week. We got you covered. Hopefully an exclusive interview as well for y'all.
We're in here talking about practice.
Yes, we are. Now we're going to the chat.
Swarm.
Raphael says, line that bleep up. It's lined up. Pittsburgh. Pajama pants. The capital of pajama pants is what they wear. Pajama pants to church. There are a lot of pajama pants being worn in Pittsburgh. It is wild how many pajama pants you see if you go there to the grocery store. My boy King Carmen pointed this out there in Cleveland. There's a lot of pajama pants. Evan says 12 sacks. Yes. Evan also says that the Texans have to watch Jalen Ramsey getting burnt and physical. He's a mean mofo. He is a mean mofo. I don't know what was happening at the end of that game. ESG Soccer says, 1, this is why the NFL is rigged to get this matchup. 2, Kaimi Fairbairn ain't kicking 6 field goals, need tuds. 3, Locke is our MVP apparently due to lack of replacement. I don't really understand number 3. Maybe I'm a little too in the clouds. I don't know what that means. If you want to elaborate on that. Timothy says that game just showed how much these teams suck. 2 missed field goals and 3 busted coverage TDs in a game. We're going to beat the crap out of them. You should feel that way. You should feel that way. It's tough to go on the road. It's going to be a crazy atmosphere. It's a physical ass team, as always. But you should feel very confident about it. I mean, that's how you probably should feel. And I would think a lot of people are going to be picking the Texans. Colors are blue. Says let's all get behind this team, believe the swarm. Texans got the best defense in the NFL, and I know they're a flawed team, but so is the other teams. Go H-Town. Yeah, most of these playoff teams are flawed. I mean, most of these playoffs teams are extremely flawed. You're not going through Kansas City this year. You're not going through Baltimore. Unless you're the Chargers, you're not going through Buffalo. So there's no excuse. This is the perfect path. This is the perfect opportunity. Buffalo's probably saying the same thing. This is very laid out. There are a lot of flawed teams. There's no overwhelming favorite. Tazewell says, Kaylee on Monday Night Football scares me. Oh, my gosh. I'm trying to have immediate thoughts. I'm not trying to think too much. My goodness, I wasn't even thinking about that. Nick. God, he sucks in prime time. Nick Kaylee wets the bed in prime time, especially in the second half. That's going to be a toughie. Can Nick Kaylee handle it? We don't have to get too much into that. We're just talking about the playoffs right now, but I mean, there's reason for reservation. The good news is he's going to have his healthiest version of his offensive line. Got a full wide receiving group. We'll see what happened to Jawar Jordan's ankle. Looked like kind of a hip drop tackle, if you ask me, on that. But Woody Marks is running well. And Nick Chubb's fresh. Not that really matters. How mean was that of Adam Schefter to say that Nick Chubb needed like 94 yards today to get an incentive? What are you doing, Adam? Have some awareness. This isn't 2024. This isn't 2022. If it were, the Texans would be playing playoff games on Saturday. Nick Chubb's not 94 yards. That was just mean, Adam Schefter. What did Nick Chubb ever do to you? C says 24 points should be enough for the Steelers. To beat the Steelers or for the Steelers to win? Because I think both teams are looking at the other team's offense as flawed. ESG Soccer says, let's win, but let's get a home playoff game. That's not their control. St. Louis says, Texans have the weakest opponent you could play in a wild card round. There's no excuse. There's definitely no excuse. With where they're at, there's no excuse. And it's laid out to where their second, if they get past Pittsburgh, their second round, they're going to be more battle tested then. Depending on who it is, they're going to be more battle tested than that squad. It looks, most likely. Buffalo's the only team in the AFC more battle tested than the Texans. Buffalo is the only team. So the Texans got to figure that out, and they've got to. Does it matter? Don't know, but they're the only battle tested squad. That's just where it is and where it's at with the Texans. Let's get to the 5 immediate thoughts. So, in the spirit of this exercise, I decided that I was going to list my 5 immediate thoughts for this game. Just immediate. Boom, 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 boom. And this is just kind of a few of the things that I think will factor into this matchup. We'll obviously get into it a little bit more as the week goes on, starting tomorrow after we get some media availability at 10 o'clock. We can finally focus on actual games. I mean, there's been some ass matchups the last few weeks. Like actual games are the greatest thing. One of the greatest things about football, where you're breaking it down. But there's nothing worse than when there's some like blowhard trying to break down the Arizona Cardinals offense versus the Texans defense. Like Sam and Steve check the mic. I listen to them. They don't even do that for Texans versus Raiders and stuff. And those are two of my favorite football nerds, but you don't even do that. You've had the dog-butted Cardinals with Jacoby Brissett. You've had the freaking Raiders that are trying to lose pretty much, although they weren't at that time. You've had them with Geno Smith. Then you had the Colts with Riley Leonard. The Chargers game was awesome. We got to break that down. But it's just been all like long-term. Hey, how's it feel to overcome the blah, blah, blah start, yada, yada, yada. It's like, man, we can talk about a game now. some matchups. This is going to be elite. And this is a marquee squad too. So my first thought here in the locker room, immediate thoughts to the Texans matchup against the Steelers is, I already said this, but the Texans get who they wanted. Does that mean they can beat them? Yes. Does it mean that the Steelers can beat them? Yes. But this is who you want to play. This is who you match up best with. If we had a draft and you got to pick your opponent, if you ran a team and you got to pick your opponent, you're picking Pittsburgh. You're picking Pittsburgh. It's not close. And the Texans, they're not going to be able to play the nobody believed in us card. That's dead. That's gone. Rest in peace. They're the most popular dark horse pick there is. That's gone. It's like Tommy Togiai. The question that D'Amico got asked today was like, hey, how about the unsung hero? We've been talking about his ass all year. He ain't unsung. Nobody's counting the Texans out. Pittsburgh can play that card, though. Pittsburgh can play that card. I don't think there's a lot of people that take Pittsburgh serious as a contender. They could maybe be one of those teams that hosts a wild card game and wins, but nobody's really taking them serious as a contender. So as far as the underdog, the us against the world, it's Pittsburgh, because the Texans got who the heck they wanted. And it's not the wrong thought. It's exactly who you should have won. You want to play them more than Jacksonville. You want to play them more than New England, going to New England. You damn sure want to play them more than Buffalo. They got who they wanted. Now, it should be mentioned that this team that you just watched that was very thin at receiver, they're throwing passes to Valdez-Scantling. Gamewell's their best player. He's our MVP. I like Gamewell, but damn. DK Metcalf will be back. So they will have a really good receiver in DK Metcalf to add to what they got. He got the suspension for the interaction with the fan. DK Metcalf will be back. Still, you should want this team. You have corners that are more than capable of shutting down DK Metcalf, but it should be noted, you want this team, but DK Metcalf is back. Thought two, the Oiler fan blood is pumping. Love you, Blue. And Pittsburgh had a hell of a history. Oilers lost to them twice in the conference championship game, if I'm not mistaken. I want to say in the late 70s they lost twice. Was it consecutive years? I think so. And we know how the Steelers and Oilers feel about each other. A lot of Oiler fans, the old school Oiler fans, they don't really, there's not like a ton of sentiment towards the Texans. Texans really haven't given them too many opportunities. They haven't played past the divisional round, and it's not the same thing. So the Browns came back as the Browns when they left, and basically the OGs, the Booms with the millennials, and then the millennials with the Gen, whatever the hell y'all are now, they all blend together, and they all have memories. Not there's the Booms memories of football are, and a lot of millennials early memories are of the Oilers. That have nothing to do with the Texans. But when you see that Steelers logo, it gets the blood pumping. So it's kind of going to be historic. John McClain, by the way, SNL, we're going to be live at Spanky's this Friday to get ready for the playoffs. It's going to be a busy one. Friday the 9th. Now, practice got pushed back a little bit. We'll still be there. We'll probably be there about 3:15. We'll broadcast at 4. But we will be there. And I think there's going to be a college football playoff game. So it might be a special edition. We might hang around and watch that with you people. And I do mean you people, although there's a practice Saturday too. It's going to be fun. But John McClain's going to be there, and I can tell you he's going to tell so many Oiler, love you, Blue Steeler stories. I can promise you that. Back to the chat before we get back to the count. But yeah, the Boom, the old school Oiler blood gets flowing, and shout out to that. That's good, man. That's good. It's a damn shame they didn't come back, the Oilers.
Swarm.
Richard Cortez says Calvin Austin cannot beat us as a deep threat. Pierce getting past us is concerning. Pierce averaged 21 yards per catch this year. I know it sounds concerning, but he hasn't really had a quarterback to be able to connect with. But that dude's an underrated, very, very faster than he looks, deceptive speed guy out there. And yes, that does mean he's white and very fast. But yeah, I don't know that Calvin Austin's going to be beating Stingley and Lassiter, who should be rested up as well. Mustang Madness says the Texans opened as 3-point favorites. So there you go. It's not a pick 'em. I bet you that gets bought up to 3.5. I bet you that gets bought up to 3.5 or 4. I would be willing to bet. I would bet Texans -3. Why not? If you lose, you lose. Charge it to the game. But yeah, I would think that would be bet up to 4 maybe. I thought it was going to open as a pick 'em though. You never know. Lisa says, please have Stingley follow DK the entire game. We've seen D'Amico do that in playoff games before. He did it with Amari Cooper after Amari Cooper lit the Texans up in 2023 in the playoffs. He had Sting follow Cooper. I think DK Metcalf is a guy that Stingley could follow around and shut down. They were not comfortable with Stingley following around Jackson Smith and Jigba. That was when D'Amico got a little testy, a little defensive about the weirdness of it and his unwillingness to admit what actually went down. He kind of got a little weird. Casario, I think he's kind of changed a little bit since. Loosened up a little bit. But yeah, I think Stingley could follow around DK Metcalf, and that could be a good battle. B. Sanchez says, should we worry about the weather? I mean, I don't think they like cold weather. That's for sure. I mean, we just saw Chris Boswell miss an extra point for the first time in 2023, and he's used to being out there. I would say Miami Fairbairn does not like cold weather. I know this for a fact. You've seen him. He's miserable. He sits by the heat. So I don't know what is Pittsburgh weather right now. What is it right now? Oh, shoot. It's 24? That sucks. So next Monday is projected. Oh, there's a little sun. 34 and 27. So yeah, it's going to be cold as hell. So yeah, I would not love that weather if I was a Houston Texans player, and I'm damn sure not going to love it if I'm Kaimi Fairbairn straight from Hawaii. He's probably going to be sitting by the heat. So no, I don't think they'll love the weather, but we've seen them win a cold weather game in Kansas City. Colston says British books look good today. Shout out to Colston. I think he's been out to a Spanky's gathering. We'll be back this Friday. He did add him to the list. Add him to the list of running backs that have looked better than Nick Chubb this year, and that look better than him in camp. Add that to the list. All right, so the first 3 thoughts to reset. Number 1, the Texans, they got who they wanted. Number 2, the old school Oiler fan blood is pumping. Number 3, Arthur Smith versus D'Amico. We don't talk about this a lot. But this is important. This is important. Because I've heard D'Amico Ryans talk about Arthur Smith, and I don't think there are too many coaches that I've heard him as like fondly talk about when it comes to offensive football. There's a handful of guys. Like he'll always praise Andy, but I feel like he respects Arthur Smith and what he does. And this will be an interesting matchup because it's the superpower versus the flawed Steelers offense, which we'll get to in a second when it comes to something the Texans can perhaps take advantage of. But Arthur Smith versus D'Amico is interesting. Sometimes coordinators, they just have upper hands against certain guys. Sometimes that happens. I'm not saying that that's the case here. The Texans obviously have an ass-kicking defense. Aaron Rodgers is obviously compromised when it comes to moving at this point. But we do have one example of Arthur Smith versus D'Amico Ryans and this Houston Texans team, and it was on October 8th, 2023. You might remember this game. It was one of the worst losses of the D'Amico Ryans era. But the Texans lost 21-19. Desmond Ridder had 329 yards. This was the one where out of the 2-minute warning, CJ Stroud. No, I'm thinking about TJ Yates right now. CJ Stroud hits. Someone said TJ Yates ain't walking through that door just now on my messages on X. But CJ Stroud hits Dalton Schultz down the middle. Schultz scores the touchdown, and then Atlanta ends up driving down the field and winning the game. So Arthur Smith against D'Amico Ryans as the Texans head coach. He is 1-0. Does it mean anything? But that's the example we have, and D'Amico does speak very, very highly of Arthur Smith. Thought 4 is just how banged up is Pittsburgh going to be? TJ Watt, not TJ Yates. TJ Watt had an interception. He's been banged up. He said he feels fine, but he'll see what he feels like tomorrow. How healthy is he? How is Aaron Rodgers feeling? We saw him grabbing that hand that was hurt earlier this year. How is he feeling? Pittsburgh's a pretty banged up team. This was a very physical game. You saw Kyle Hamilton. It would have been interesting had Baltimore won to see if Kyle Hamilton passes the concussion protocol. It would have been, granted, it would have been an extra day, but players haven't really been playing from Sunday to Sunday after having concussions. Like, would they have sped it up or what? Don't know. But that would have been interesting to see. But Pittsburgh, they just played an extremely physical, emotional football game. Aaron Rodgers has been banged up. TJ Watt has been banged up. Jalen Ramsey went down today. So I think that it was a good thing that the Texans get to face a team that played last in a physical game because they're a little bit roughed up, and we'll see just how roughed up this Steelers team is. They could be pretty banged up heading into this game. And on the other hand, the Texans today, they rest Nico Collins, they rest Kamari Lassiter, they rested a lot of guys. Thought number 5, this pass rush might end Aaron Rodgers. And you heard Chris Collinsworth say it today. And I quote Chris Collinsworth because sometimes he says some funny ass stuff like Lamar Jackson looks like himself when it looks like he's carrying a 85-pound backpack when he runs around. And other times he'll make some very smart observations. At the end of the game, he said, if the Baltimore Ravens lose, it's going to be because of their lack of pass rush. And that's going to be the reason why they lose this game and why they don't get into the playoffs. If you've seen Aaron Rodgers look bad, it's been against teams that can force him to run. Did you see him run on that one play where he just slowed down because he knew he was about to get scooted? Aaron Rodgers cannot move. He is not mobile right now. He's old. He shouldn't be. But he cannot move. And when you have the best edge duo in the league, you have a very, very good inside rush with Rankins and Togiai. You got to wonder if Aaron Rodgers is just going to be taken to the woodshed. Now, this is going to go back to the third thought that we had with Arthur Smith versus D'Amico Ryans. Maybe you have to get creative and figure some things out. I do think that Pittsburgh has a couple of guys in Warren, Gainwell, Pat F. I do think they have some guys. Jonnu Smith. They have some guys that can expose the Texans' flaw on defense in intermediate passes. So that can be kind of scary. The Gainwell and the other guys. But if Aaron Rodgers is uncomfortable and he can't move, that's going to be a problem. And the Texans' pass rush might end him. So those are the 5 initial thoughts. We'll get to some more thoughts. We'll talk about this a little bit more. It's a late night tonight, normal time, but normally we don't do the Sunday streams, but we go live after Monday Night Football. So we're going to get it there. Back to the chat here in the locker room.
Swarm.
Mark said Noel looks like a playmaker when he has the ball. He is a playmaker when he has the ball. Now, for whatever reason, they don't like to play him a lot. But maybe they're waiting to unveil Jalen Noel. Speaking of the devil, you bring up Jalen Noel, you hear from Jalen Noel. I caught up with Jalen Noel. I'm going to give you the assist here, Mark. Caught up with Jalen Noel after the game, asked him how he's feeling. Here's what Jalen Noel had to say here on a special live edition of the Locker Room post-game show, reacting to Texans taking on the Steelers in the first round. Monday night, not Saturday night. Here's Jalen Noel.
So playoffs, how exciting is it to get first taste of the playoffs in your first year?
Very exciting. Not people go throughout their whole careers and don't get the opportunity to play in the playoffs. So to be able to do that in my first season, it's exciting and an honor.
How has your personal growth been as a rookie? I know, see you out there sometimes, and sometimes people might feel it's not enough, and then you make the big play last week. How are you feeling going into the playoffs?
I feel great. With every opportunity that comes my way, I feel like I've gotten better and taken advantage of those opportunities. And going into the playoffs, I know it's big-time ball, and I feel like I'm a big-time player. And when I get those opportunities in the playoffs to help the team, I'm going to make the most of it.
What was it like being part of the comeback with Davis out there? The win streak starts with Davis, and it's continuing with him.
It's great to see a guy like that put in the work. Not knowing when he'll get his opportunity just tells you how much he loves the game of football. So the way he prepares, the way he goes out there and leads, is great for our team.
So will you be watching Pittsburgh, Baltimore, or are you just kind of whatever? Tell us who we play when we play.
I'm always watching football. I'm a fan of the game. But yeah, I mean, just whoever we play, respect to those guys, and we'll be ready for them.
I think we've asked you this before, but I want to ask you again, especially with winning 12 games on the season, ending the season with a 9-game winning streak. Can you just talk about the camaraderie and the brotherhood of this locker room? Yeah,
from what I heard, it's not like other locker rooms in the league, and the way guys come together and just support each other. A word I learned, mudita, having joy for other people's success is something big that lives in this locker room, and it's special. That's how you get to 9 wins in a row, and that's how you punch your ticket to the playoffs. So that'll carry us a long way.
All right, there you go. That's Jalen Noel. I could easily see him making a big play in the playoffs. I'm still waiting on that return. Feels like every week I say, look out for Jalen Noel on special teams. I'm waiting for it. Maybe we see that. We did see Baltimore have some success in the return game. Maybe we see. By the way, they finally called the catch interference on a Jalen Noel return. How about that? They ignored it last week. They call it this week. But that's Jalen Noel. Could he be a different element? We think so, but it's kind of hard to see. Richard says Christian Kirk has been a major disappointment.
Captain Kirk, can you save me? Captain Kirk, I want to have your baby.
Can't count on him to contribute at this point. More Noel, please. I don't know what that's going to be like, man. I could see Nick Caley not trusting the rookies in the playoffs. I could see him being that guy. God, who knows? Nathan says, Landry, any chance we see Crypto Harris take over for the playoff run? My penny stock's gone. My Christian Harris penny stock is gone. Texans Geo says, big boy Trent Brown playing. Yes, he'll play. They rested him this week. He's not going to miss this game, so he will play. I'd assume he goes back to right tackle. Don't know. But he'll be available for sure. I would bet very heavily on that. Shout out to Ras El Fancy. What do you think about the Nico and Joey Porter Jr. matchup? Also, Kaylee needs to use Nico more, especially after seeing how Zay Flowers played today. The Zay Flowers thing, there was the busted coverage, and then there was just Lamar Jackson being a freak and getting loose. I think that's where you kind of hope that CJ can make off-script plays for sure, because the deep ball that Lamar threw was pretty. There was the bust, and there was the off-script play that really I think only he can make. But the matchup with Nico, I don't know that they have anyone that can really stop Nico. It would be interesting to see if they decide they want to take away Nico. That's how I would attack the Texans. If I were an opposing defensive coordinator, and I'm surprised more don't do this, I would take away Nico Collins. Now, Jaden Higgins playing pretty well. We'll hear from him in a second. Xavier Hutchinson, he's gotten better. But if I were an opposing DC in a big game, I'm taking away Nico Collins, and I'm having someone else beat me, whether it's Dalton Schultz, whether it's Captain Kirk. whether it's one of the rookies. That's what I'm doing. And I don't know that I don't know why more teams don't, but that's what I would do. H-Town says, Happy New Year. Happy New Year to my friend. Say, if you had to pick an outcome, who do you think wins and what will the final score be? You're putting me right on the spot, my friend. Just looking for a prediction. Thanks and take care. I'll take the Texans to win. I'll take them right now. And this could change on Friday, depending on how much I put in this thick skull of mine. But I'll pick the Texans to win 23 to 16. I'll say 23 to 16 Texans. I think they'll give Aaron Rodgers some trouble, but I do think these intermediate receivers like the Gainwells, Warren, I'm a little bit concerned about that, but I'll give it to them. And they also got the game at home. Someone says who won't play next week. I mean, I think everybody's going to go. I don't know about Jamal Hill. I don't know what's up with Jamal Hill, but I think Kamari Lassiter's been battling. They're giving him as much rest as possible, and they needed to. Nico was 100% rest. If this were a playoff game, I think Kamari and Nico play, quite honestly. But they needed to. I'll use this example. Woody Marks. Remember when I kept saying this guy needs an ice up week? This guy needs an ice up week. He's limped off the field every damn game. Ice up. They set him out 2 weeks ago. He's been running extra hard the last couple of weeks. Matter of fact, they don't win without his physical hard running the last couple of weeks. So imagine Kamari Lassiter getting that ice up day. Trent Brown, probably a little bit more ice needed there. So he got a few weeks. I'm actually surprised that he lasted as long as he did. The consecutive games, few games, 3 to 5, whatever it was. And then who else do you not think would play? I don't know if Chubb plays. I don't know if he's active. The Jawar Jordan ankle could decide that. I could see them arriving at a point where Nick Chubb doesn't need to be active, especially with how British Brooks ran today. But it all depends on Jawar Jordan's ankle. We'll look out for Alpha Aaron to let us know about that injury if he hasn't already. I don't know.
Hey, bro, Alpha Aaron here.
Big injury guy. That Alpha Aaron guy. He's very anti-HIPAA. So yeah, I would look out for Jawar Jordan. I think Trent goes. Kamari goes. Nico definitely goes. So yeah, that's what I would think. And I don't know what any injuries that appeared today. So that would be my my guess. Evan says, good thing is that donkey tight end Washington on Pitt isn't playing. Take those shots deep. Higgins, Collins, Knoll. AFC is wide open. I don't know what donkey tight end is. A massive human being. He is a massive human being. He is Washington, and he's a hell of a blocker too. That kind of hurts their run game. I like their backs though. I think they got underrated. I think they got underrated backs. I think the Colts have underrated receivers, and I think that they have underrated backs in Pittsburgh. I like their backs a lot. Mark Sanchez, hopefully not the Mark Sanchez. Mark Sanchez
Swarm.
says, not long ago I had a dream. Houston went all the way and pulled it off. No matter what happens, they got this, and everyone should feel the same way. It's a tough ask, man. It's a tough ask. Have you seen this offense? You set these. You're setting records for the most field goals in a season. That's scary, man. That's kind of a sign of a bad offense, isn't it? Like if you look at the guys in that company, we don't have to do this today. I mean, you're talking about Alex Smith. You're talking about the Steelers with Fields and Russ Wilson. Cowboys with Prescott hurt. Yeah, it's not a great record. But yeah, you should feel confident in the Pittsburgh game for sure. You should feel confident they can beat anyone. This is crazy. Any hopes on Tank returning? No. Not at all. I think we should tap the brakes on the Tank Dell thing. I really do. I was talking about this the other day. He was never going to come back this season. That's actually insane that people even entertain that. That's actually really disrespectful to even like assume that a guy who tore multiple ligaments and had a bone go through his knee was going to play this year. It's actually disrespectful to him. But as far as Tank coming back, I don't know what that's going to look like. He looked like he had kind of slowed down before that Kansas City game last season. So, I mean, it was probably similar to what Christian Kirk had done this year. Probably a little bit better. But there were definitely some no-shows. But now you come back from this injury. We'll see what happens. I've said this 100 times. If Tank Dell goes out there and stretches and practices, that's an accomplishment. That is a physical accomplishment for the injury that he had. But no, Tank Dell, no. And if he's coming back, he's going to be trying. Is he trying to make the team? Is he trying to be the 5th, 6th? You're going to have Nico. You're going to have the 2 rooks. They're going to be ahead of him. You're going to have Hutchinson in his final year. So, I mean, he's going to be on the back end trying to make the squad, but he's damn sure not playing. ESG Soccer says, just got to say it 0-3. It was miserable in here. And now the hottest team in the league. Demick is the man. Need to figure out that OC situation. Or what if he flips the switch? What if Nick Caley flips the switch? What if he's a switch flipper? Nick. He says he doesn't believe in such a thing. But what if he's a flip switcher? What if he is? Who knows? Let's hear from Woody Marks. Stoots got up with Woody Marks for a second. The man, a few words. Some incredibly hard running from Woody Marks. That touchdown to Higgins, who we'll also hear from in a sec. We're hearing from the Rooks, the Pups, going in their first playoff appearance. But that was set up by Woody Marks and the 33 yards rushing that he had on that drive. That was beautiful. Let's hear what Woody Marks, Mr. Atlanta, had to say about the game and things moving forward.
Finished 12-win season, 9-game win streak heading into the playoffs. How's that feel to wrap up the season like that?
I feel good, and on a good note, going into the playoffs, pretty hot.
I know on offense, maybe you don't want to see Kaimi go out there, but when he goes out there, how confident are you guys that he's going to take care of his business?
Automatic, Mr. Automatic.
Felt like there were some tough yards out there today for you. Just this season, how it's gone for you, still running hard here at the end. That's kind of the mentality, the mood. You want to be hitting your peak as you hit the playoffs, right?
Yeah, for sure. Just me, my biggest deal. Just keep going. Making that last guy miss. Just run. When I get in the secondary, just run so I can bust out a big run.
And some of those things become easier or something a little bit more comfortable as the season's kind of worn on. You've gotten more and more and more.
Yeah, patience. I say my patience grew a lot from the beginning of the season. Me being patient, finding the right gaps to hit. I say that's a level, next level.
You got a preference, Pittsburgh or Baltimore for the next one?
I don't care who it is, where it's at. I'm just ready to play.
Eyes on your own paper, take care of your business. Doesn't matter who the opponent is, right?
Yeah, for sure.
Thanks, Woody.
That's a businessman right there. Look at that game face right there. I actually believed him there. I actually believed he didn't care. A lot of times it's hard to hide it. Like if I was a player and you came up to me and like some media type like myself, like if Stoots came up to me and he's like, any preference in who it's going to be? I'm going to be like, Pittsburgh. No, I don't care. I wouldn't be able to hide it like him, but I actually believe him. I actually think he's doing the same thing. Speaking of Stoots, you can see us at Spanky's Sharpstown this Friday. Playoff celebration, 3:00 live broadcast at 4. Reaction Monday tomorrow at 2. Gonna be fun. Back on the chat. ESG says, just got to say it. We already said that we already read this. But I read it twice like Mike Jones said it twice like Mike.
High-grade marijuana called Kush on the streets.
Dennis, shout out to you, my friend. That's a skeleton. That's a cowboy hat. You don't mess with Dennis. TX Perp Sipper. Be careful, man. Don't get too bloated. Says, is Caley slow? Brooks should have been on the field. Every running back that they put out there that's not Nick Chubb looks more explosive than Nick Chubb. This isn't a mystery. And this isn't disrespect to Nick Chubb. Nick Chubb's one of the best running backs of this decade. He was top 3 for an extended period of time. He's a dog. He's a freak. The injuries he's had, though, and the age that he's at, and he's the position that he's plays, and the wear and tear that he had, it's not set up for you to be a good back. And it's one thing for him to or a productive back. Maybe there's like some pass protection element at this point, but literally every running back that you've given a chance to carry the rock outside of Dameon Pierce has been clearly better. British Brooks is light years ahead of him when it comes to just running the rock. Don't know what that is. Like it's an interesting thing. It'll be interesting to see if Nick Chubb is active next week. I think we got to check out the Jawar Jordan ankle before we know fully if that is a thing, because he will be if Jawar Jordan's hurt. If not, what do they do? R says, what do you think Nico's ceiling is in the playoffs? Best receiver on the field. Anytime Nico Collins steps on the field, he has a high ceiling. I mean, he could go for 120 and a tutty a game. I mean, again, if I were a DC, I would focus on taking him away, but he can easily do anything that an elite receiver can do whenever he steps on the field. Might be at the mercy of old Kaylee, though, and erratic CJ, but when those two guys get on the same page, it's a thing of beauty. Off script too. The off script, we saw it against Kansas City. We saw Pittsburgh kind of vulnerable to that. Maybe CJ and Nico can get something going there. Izzy says CJ is so lucky Woody is playing this good. Yeah, he's very lucky to have the Woody doing his thing. Woody's helping him out. It's a good thing. They've needed that. Dennis says, I'm worried about doing well in the playoffs, and we keep Kaylee. If they do well in the playoffs, then we'll see what it looks like with Nick Kaylee. Let's see if he's a playoff performer. He's been very scared in primetime. Primetime games haven't been good to Nick Kaylee. I'll do some research on it. But primetime games, some of his moments, you look at Tampa Bay, where he shied away from the QB sneak. Remember that? Shied away from the QB sneak. I saw Carolina run right up the middle on Tampa Bay yesterday. He shied away from that. Seattle, he ran behind Laken Tomlinson twice. Buffalo, the offense disappeared. Kansas City, the offense disappeared. You had 99 yards combined in the second half of those two previously mentioned ball games. Nick Kaylee might get a little nervous in that primetime, man. He's some guys are B-Rabbit final scene. Some guys are B-Rabbit scene one. When you're roughing up on a bad team, sometimes Nick Kaylee can be B-Rabbit final scene. But whenever it's prime time, those palms get sweaty. And Nick Kaylee is B-Rabbit scene one. How many people actually got that reference? Most of you should have, right? Am I turning into the guy that's like mentioning dated movies? Probably it's old, but I think it travels good enough to where people know what the hell's going on. Someone says time management is the problem. I thought the time management was good today. I actually thought D'Amico Ryans did a good job with the time management. At the end of halves, it is. I agree with you. But at the end of the half today, it was good. It was 1st and goal from the 5, Indianapolis. Timeout. Called another timeout. And the Texans were able to go score 3 because of the clock management. So I actually thought D'Amico Ryans today did a good job with time management. He's better when the other team's getting the ball, though, or he's more aggressive, I should say. He's not better. The feel question is suspect, but I actually thought today was a good job. I thought he did a good job with the time management. Don, I don't know if this is true. He says some guys are mixing, aka Cheddar Bob. Come on, man. I don't even know what to say about that theory. But good God, that was impressive right there. That was very impressive right there. Yeah, I don't even know what to make of that. Let's hear from Jaden Higgins quickly. We're hearing from the rookies. We've heard from Woody Marks. We've heard from Jalen Knoll. Jaden Higgins, man. He had a long reception taken away. he was kind of called upon to be the man today. Let's hear what old Jaden Higgins had to say after the game.
Zone play we had, kind of like
I was in the scrum. Greg Bailey's here. Something's wrong with Greg Bailey's eye. Like half of it is red. I know he's not a smoker or anything like that. I don't even think Greg Bailey's drank. I would be surprised if Greg Bailey has never had a sip of beer. I could be messing that up big time. But he has like something red on his eye there. I wonder if I got a view of it. Who knows? He's right over there.
a keep to the left. I was just coming across the field, and CJ found me, and I got my feet in.
You guys feel like you got what you needed to get ready for the postseason?
For sure. I think the biggest thing, of course, is coming away with the win, and we went out there and did that.
Jay, could you just take us through just the emotional roller coaster that you all have been on, as far as the way you all started the season to the way that you're in and now 9-game winning streak, 12 games on the season. Just what has been, how exciting it's been for you your rookie season?
For sure, it's been super exciting. I think it just comes down to just a testament to the coaches, the program that we have here, and just the whole staff in general for believing in us and just keeping us going so we can go out there and win games.
You feel like you're kind of finding your groove late in the season?
For sure, yeah, definitely.
How excited are you to be in the playoffs for the first time?
Yeah, very excited, very excited. That's what we expected too. So, you're very excited, but that's what our organization expects every year.
Have you been told anything about the playoffs? I know it certainly just happened, but have you talked to guys about what the playoffs are like once you guys did clinch?
Yeah, no, not really, honestly. I think kind of like that next game mentality. Of course, the intensity goes up a little bit, but I think, we do a good job of, taking one game at a time already.
What do you think of Tommy at the end there?
That was awesome. Got in the end zone and threw up his celebration. That was awesome.
He can run a little bit, can't he?
For sure, he can. He could definitely run. You seen he was actually in a play on offense this game too. Yeah, the play that CJ scored.
Was Tommy supposed to get that ball on the play that CJ scored?
Yeah, I can't even disclose that. I don't know whether who was supposed to get it. I just know CJ scored.
Jay, you can take us through your touchdown.
Yeah, it was just a keeper to the left, and I'm just screaming across the field, and I seen that the flat guy was kind of covered, so I'm basically the winner, and CJ threw a great ball.
How have you seen this offense change or evolve throughout the season?
I think just making plays at the end of the day. It just comes down to making plays when they're there. It's not like a secret formula or anything that we're going out trying anything new. It's just, when the plays are there, we go out there and make them, and, we win.
Jay, 9 in a row, 12 wins, only second time that's happened. The last one was 2012. Hey, bro. Just as a team, your achievements in the regular season, what do you think about how you guys did?
Yeah, I think it was, a great regular season, and we're going to catapult our way into the postseason and look to continue to go out there and play Texans football.
If it's Ravens or the Steelers, how do you guys look at it, the matchups?
Yeah, I don't know anything about that now because we haven't scouted them yet. But I think at the end of the day, we're always just trying to play the best version of our game.
Obviously, you're going to.
He is a confident guy. I knew that what this answer was going to be, but I just wanted to see the confidence.
Approach it the same no matter what. But when you find out that Nico's getting some rest, is it kind of like, man, I gotta step it up and hold it down for Nico?
No, not really.
Same
yeah,
thing.
Same thing. Yeah.
Yeah, he's a confident dude. He's very, very confident guy. He's making plays, and we'll see how he looks in the playoffs. We'll see how he looks in the rookies. We've seen bits and pieces of all of them. They could be the difference in a good enough offense. I'm not going to say really good at this point. I think there could be a point where you're talking about a really good offense where Higgins, Knoll, and maybe Marks, depending on that shelf life and how long that takes. I think if you make Woody Marks 1B, I think you're in really, really good shape. But as far as having a good enough offense in the playoffs, the plays that these guys can make, specifically Jaden Higgins in the red zone, Jaden Higgins, the long ball potential, Jalen Knoll, the long ball potential in special teams, and Woody Marks, he's your RB1. He's your dog right now. He's your bell cow. He's your workhorse. Like, you see him run hard at the end of games, getting a first down to end it. We've seen that damn near a handful of times this year. These rookies, this draft, day 2, the day 2 guys and day 3. Yeah, I mean, this is going to be perhaps the difference in making history or not. The margin for error is small. in the playoffs. The offense is very, very flawed, but the rookies could be the difference of it. So we got to keep an eye on that. Jacob on the chat says, I rewatched the whole interview with 38, Kayvon Wallace, in my head while that ball was in the air and it doubled him in the head. I know, man. He had a couple of moments near the line of scrimmage, and then he had a play where Pittman, I think, was kind of scared to get hit by him. But, man, he got burned by Alec Pierce, a.k.a. the Can Man, a.k.a. anyone can get it. Everyone did today. And then that interception, he looked very uncoordinated. He's played 2 football games in 414 days or whatever. So one of them was really good. One of them was not great. So yeah, it wasn't awesome. And we'll see how he responds in the playoffs when it matters the most. Timothy says, Malibu's most wanted reference. Come on, Landry. LOL. Also, Aaron Rodgers can't focus getting hit too much. I don't think he's ready for that edge duel. Nah, you can make him miserably uncomfortable. In the middle, on the outside, you have potential to make Aaron Rodgers just a complete non-factor, and you have potential to make him look old. Phillip Rivers didn't play today because he would have died. Like he didn't know that the Texans were going to put their backups in. I know they didn't have anything to play for, but also he would have died with Will Anderson and Danielle Hunter coming at him. Aaron Rodgers is more mobile than Fat Rivers right now, but he may die too. It's not going to be fun for him. Or it shouldn't be if the Texans do what they should. But look out for those. He can get rid of the ball quick to some guys that can make plays, and they got to figure out. Henry To'oTo'o's got to be more of the last 2 weeks. Henry To'oTo'o than the 2 weeks before that. Rich Boy J says, can you rank all the D'Amico Caserio draft classes? Obviously, number 1 is going to be 2023. I mean, you had the 1st and 12th pick. You traded multiple picks to get Will Anderson. You did good there. I think you did a good job getting Tank too. So that was the first one. You got to put that first. And then number 2, you got to put this one. So there's only been 3. Number 2 is this one. But I think the overall impressiveness of it, like anyone could take CJ Stroud number 2. Anyone could trade if they have extra draft equity, trade it to get Will Anderson. It's not impressive. It's not as impressive, but as far as best, you got 2 guys that you hope can be or have been the face of their respected sides of the rock. So you have to put that one. But as far as impressiveness, I would say if you find a starting left tackle, 2 good receivers, a good running back in Woody Marks, I think you got to put that up there. And last year's was good too. I mean, look, I'm putting that distant third. I mean, God, you got Kamari Lassiter, who's one of the better corners in the league, second best corner in franchise history. And you get Kalen Bullock. So that was a good draft last year too. But I would say 2023, 2025 right now, 2024. But I think the impressiveness is 2023 is a distant because you could do that. I'm not saying that as an insult. Any of us could. You have the second pick and all the extra equity, you could do that. That's not hard. That's not anything crazy. So that would be the take on that. But the playoff bracket set, there we go. Does anyone really scare you? I would say probably not. Do you think that there's any like bunnies? No, there's not bunnies, but nothing scares you. I think the most important thing here, and I want to reemphasize this, it didn't seem like D'Amico was too concerned about it. But the possibility of having to go to Buffalo is dead. You don't have to do that. Now, had you lost this game, that would be alive. You would be the 6th seed. You would be starting in Jacksonville, which you'd feel good about. And then you'd still feel good about the second matchup. It would just be that AFC Championship game, that potential matchup against Buffalo, that rematch would be there instead of here, which is a big difference. That's a big difference. You've had success here. Even then, that would be hard. But that would be a mofo to have to go to Buffalo. Sometimes they even have to delay games this time of the year up there. So you get that, you avoid that. I don't think D'Amico obviously cared about that, but that's where it's at. Speaking of D'Amico, he and the players, they speak tomorrow. I'll be out there. No practice. They'll actually be off the next couple of days. Tuesday, Wednesday, they'll be off. And then everything gets pushed back a week. So we'll hear from CJ Stroud Thursday instead of Wednesday. We'll hear from Kaylee Friday instead of Thursday. The people who follow along regularly, they know this schedule by now because of the way the coverage is here and on SNL. Be sure to subscribe to both those channels as well as the Texans Collective as well. And then Saturday will basically be the Friday practice, the walkthrough and all that. We'll try to get another interview this week. So that's where it is. Monday night, no more Saturdays. How about that? You get to sit back, watch the playoffs, and then you get to wait for that Monday. Who's taking off work Monday or Tuesday? Good Lord. That sucks because this is not the time to take off. This is where everybody's getting in full swing. This is full business. I don't know. You might just have to battle the hangover. Or just relax. But we will be up late Monday night. We'll be up late throughout the week. Probably more non-live videos. I'm still going to do as many live videos, but I'll probably have some non-live video content as well during the playoffs in the off season, because we get back to breaking down a game. There's nothing better than actually breaking down a game. No more of this regular season stuff. The playoffs are here, and it's a historic matchup for a number of ways. It brings back memories of history. It could be the last game that Aaron Rodgers plays in the NFL. There's an opportunity to make Aaron Rodgers uncomfortable. There's an opportunity for Pittsburgh to kind of expose some of the weaknesses of the Texans defense. We don't know what the Texans offense is going to look like. It's going to be cold. There's going to be towels waving. It's going to be sick. It's going to be badass. This is what it's all about, man. What a great way to end the regular season, and what a fun time to be heading into the playoffs. Ryan on the chat says, got to be a blessing. Buffalo plays Jags right. To me, those are the biggest threats. I think Jacksonville has a chance to beat Buffalo. I think that's a good matchup for Jacksonville. I think they can figure it out. You almost want Jacksonville to win at this point, right? I would think so. I don't know if you want to yell Duval or anything. As a matter of fact, I would venture to say most people in here would not. But yeah, that's a hell of a matchup. This is just awesome. This is just an awesome layout. When you look at this bracket right here, even look at the NFC. My goodness, that's a good one. Carolina, you beat the Rams in the regular season. Well, do it now. Philadelphia, San Fran, we know they got the history. Green Bay, Chicago, my God, a playoff game. That's insane. Texans, Steelers, obviously. Jags, Bills. And then Jim Harbaugh, he basically said, F you, I want to play the Patriots. I'd rather play them than the Chargers. He rested his guys. This is going to be fun. We get to sit back and watch it. Monday night action. No more of that early Saturday. Again, Spanky's. Let me know in the chat if you're going to be at Spanky's. We've been filling up that back room. We might have to have them expanded a little bit. It's going to be fun. Always remember, and check out the post game if you want to go back and check out the post game. We did double duty today. Triple duty tomorrow on the live YouTube streams. 2:00 SNL with myself and Cody Stoots, straight from media availability. 6:00 Texans Collective with me, Stoots, Sean Pendergast, and Reginald Atula, and then we'll be live in the locker room. We'll dive deep into this Texans Steelers. I'll have more thoughts, not just the immediate ones. Appreciate y'all for rolling through. Subscribe, like, ride along, and always remember, man, what a fun time to be alive. When it comes to this Texan stuff, we're all in it together. Hit it, Grifty.
Yeah, it's the Locker Room on YouTube. You know what it is. Let's get it. Hey, Locker Room. Yeah, we in the locker room. Texas talk. Yeah, you know what we about to do. Localized. Every angle's what we really do. We the source. We the pulse of the city too. Landlocked. Got the game in the headlock. Localized every time. Can't stop, won't stop. Yeah, we top two and we not too plugged in.